We're hearing from former Chattanooga Police Chief Fletcher, who now lives in Colorado, on the mass shooting that happened in Boulder just 2 days ago. A man opened fire, killing 10 people at a grocery store. Channel 3's Mary Frances Hoots spoke to Fletcher, who's visiting the scenic city this week. Mary Frances.
Well, Greg, Fletcher was the chief back on July 16, 2015, when there was a terrorist attack in Chattanooga, so he knows very well what a mass shooting can do to a community and an entire police force. And he says it's just something you never really fully recover from.
Going back to Columbine, going all the way up through the movie theater shooting, and quite a few more that may not be well known.
Colorado has a history of mass shootings in the last few decades. Monday, a gunman opened fire at a grocery store in Boulder, leaving 10 people dead, including a police officer. Former Chattanooga Police Chief Fletcher says the chances of this event happening would have been much slimmer if a key gun control law limiting certain types of firearms had stayed in place.
That had been overturned in a court case just days before this shooter purchased a rifle and engaged in this mass shooting.
Now, the country is responding to another tragedy just days after a mass shooting in Atlanta.
Chattanooga Police Department faced that threat.
Having been chief during the terrorist attack in Chattanooga, Fletcher knows the emotions the Boulder Police Department is experiencing right now.
We mourn and we grieve and we lament the tragedy every time it happens, particularly when it happens close to home. As a police officer, you feel the loss of any community member as one of your own because you're sworn to protect them.
Fletcher says these types of mass tragedies spark reform within the police department, something Chattanooga did back in 2015 to make their force safer.
We were able to acquire additional ballistic protection for officers.
The epidemic of gun violence happens daily, whether it's on a large or small scale. And Fletcher says it won't stop police from running in harm's way.
It was an American police officer who rushed towards the violence in Boulder, putting himself between violence and his neighbors.
Officer Eric Talley, father of 7, was the police officer who was tragically killed on Monday.